All right, we've got our tea. We've got some fun Halloween-esque lights in the background. I think we're ready to do this.
Hi, everyone. You're tuning in to the Perfectly Powerfully You podcast, a space of epic positivity, radical self expression, and transformational growth. Join me in celebrating this beautiful thing we call life with even greater ease, flow, and authenticity.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Perfectly Powerfully You podcast. I am your host, Nikita, and I trust, hope, and expect that you all are having a most delightful day. As some of you may know, if you watched my previous podcast, I just came back from a trip from Scotland, and I am feeling so delighted to one be back in my routine because I love being home and in my own bed and all the comforts of home, but also feeling very excited for even greater trips and feeling even more motivated in life to continue to spread my wings and fly. During my trip, I had many hours in layover, which I am delighted by because I got to continue to read a new book. Many of you have probably already read it, but it is Joe Dispenza's Becoming Supernatural. I've heard about this book for a while now, and I've only just started to read it, and I have not put it down. It is underneath me right now, underneath this table, and it has so many sticky notes of goodness, of excellency, of inspired ideas. And that brings me to this podcast of becoming even more supernatural in life, but more so gaining inspiration from particularly being heart centered individuals. Now, something that I would love to continue to live into in this life is continuing to live more consciously, more aware, and even more compassionately in life. Because not only is it more fun, not only is it even more freeing, but I just genuinely, you have more love of life when you continue to live a heart-centered life. And as I've been continuing in more of his research, of my own research, it has been a delight to be able to recognize the not only the importance of the heart, of our heart energy center, but continuously being conscious of living from our heart and recognizing that our energy continues to expand and we get to attract everything that we would love in life and who we are choosing to become by living an even more consciously heart-centered life. So, for those of you who are inspired and would love to delve into how we can attract even more effortlessly the things that we would love in life and live into even greater prosperity, abundance, freedom, love, joy, and success in general, then keep watching and or continue to listen, please. Now, one thing I have again, for those of you who know me, I have notes here and I've written down a plethora of them for this podcast, but it is more specifically on, again, becoming supernatural, the pages around 170 to 172. So, for those of you who have the book and maybe either haven't picked it up or would love a little bit of a refresher, much of my inspired thoughts, ideas are coming from these pages of Joe Dispenza's book. Now, one thing that he mentions in his book is that the heart has its own brain. And by that, he means neural connections and a nervous system within it that communicates to our brain and vice versa. Now, because of this, the heart influences the higher cognitive and emotional centers in the brain in a amazing way. I'd love to break this down in a little bit of a different way in the ways that I understand it, because I think that it is a phenomenal tidbit of information to keep in your back pocket whenever you're feeling like you would love to touch base and influence your brain even more. Now, something that Joe Dispenza constantly talks about is that our personality creates our personal reality. And not only that, he also talks about when we are able to initiate the emotion before the experience, then we get to attract what it is that we are choosing and what we say that we are. So, Because he's saying that there are 90% of the nerve fibers go from the heart to the brain as opposed to brain to the heart. If we live a heart centered life with greater compassion, joy, aliveness, empathy, love, gratitude, this is signaling from the heart all the way up to our beautiful brain and changing our neural pathways. He goes on by saying that when our heart is open, it means that it keeps our brain's survival instincts in check. So, why is it important that we become more consciously aware of being heart centered individuals and living our life from the energy of our heart? Well, when you mentioned that when the heart is open and we're living into and feeling and vibrating even greater levels of compassion and love and generosity and gratitude, and if we recognize that it is sending signals to our brain, by keeping our survival centers in check, it means that we're feeling less stress, anxiety, lack, fear, guilt, and all of these chemical compounds that are being produced by these emotions are becoming less in our body. What does that mean for us in general? Our sympathetic nervous system is turned on. We are in fight or flight mode right now. We are no longer thinking. We are solely based on our past emotions and thoughts and feelings. And how can I get out of here? How can I fight this person or this beast right now? Over time, and you've probably heard this before, but I will reiterate it here. Adrenaline and cortisol are often flooded, as well as a variety of other chemical compounds in our body. Short term duration, this is great. We get to fight, flight, or freeze, and it generally will help us escape danger. Over time, however, stress reduces the immune system. If our body is constantly in a sympathetic state, in our fight or flight state, it is no longer the time to create what it is that we would love in life. And it is not the time to heal. This means that when we are constantly under a state of stress, whatever it is in life, and it could be just based upon the emotions of the past, then it means that our body never has a chance to heal because it is constantly under stress. And again, when we are under stress, it is not the time to heal. Now, when Joe Dispenza says, when we live from a heart centered place in our life with greater compassion, joy, love, vibrancy, and abundance, and we genuinely feel this and radiate it out, it's sending a signal to our brain that it is safe to create. Because when we're feeling joy and gratitude and creativity and imaginativity, we're not feeling stress, anxiety, and fear. And when we're feeling the emotions of greater abundance and prosperity and health and love, it means that out of our sympathetic fight or flight state and we are into our rest, digest, and create state. Because our body is often a record of the past and our mind is constantly a record of the past. When we get to continue to train our brain to live from a state of love, we get to live continuously by emotions of love. A quote that comes to mind is all the water in the world can't drown me if it doesn't get inside of me. And when Joe Dispenza says that we are less likely to respond to stressors when our heart is open, it coincides with one another. And it got me thinking in a really curious way that when we continue to resonate from a heart centered place and we genuinely feel these feelings of compassion and love for one another, if I recognize that it's not only changing my brain patterns, but it's also allowing me to not allow outside circumstance to dictate how I feel. This is where we get to continue to master our mind. And when we master our mind, we master our body. And when we master our body and our energy, life changes, our reality changes. Things become easier for us. We are no longer matter changing matter, we are energy changing energy. we start to attract what it is that we are choosing to become. And we are sending out signals to the universe and what Joe Dispenza says, the quantum field, that that is who we are. Oftentimes, and I know that I fall victim to it as well, we say that life happens to us, that someone did this to me, that people showed up in this way and I feel angry, or they made me angry, or this situation is stressful, or I feel scared. This is a victim mindset, and it's okay that we have it. But when we are choosing to endeavor to live the life that we would absolutely love living, and we recognize that we are the only person who can change our thoughts and change our feeling, it means that we must choose to take ourselves out of victim mode. It means that we must choose to say, okay, if all the water in the world can't drown me, if it doesn't get inside of me, it means that I have a choice here. And when we tie in living from a heart-centered space, it means that we get to continuously choose love. And when we choose love, it means that we also choose compassion, empathy, gratitude, curiosity, and we get to change the experience and perception that we are having. Situations and circumstances just are. There may be something, and I'm betting there is, in your life that you are not loving, that you are feeling so much discontent about and longing for something more. Our perception is key, and how we choose to think and resonate over experiences is going to influence how we think and feel about them. Something that is really curious that I kept reading in Joe Dispenza's book is that he says that we become addicted to our emotions. And again, that got me really thinking. So if we recognize that 95% of how we think and feel is a record of the past, and if we're feeling a lot of discontent, stress, fatigue, anxiety, fear, lack in any way, it means that we've programmed ourselves to continue to think this way. And I said, because if we, as he says, are addicted to our emotions, and if we are constantly focusing on the ways in which things aren't working out for us, why we should be scared, why we should be angry at our boss or our employers, or why we should be discontent about the money that we see in our bank account, if he's saying that we are addicted to our thinking and our emotions, our body is saying, where is it? Why aren't we feeling stress? We should be feeling this right now. It means that our body is constantly looking out for the ways in which it can satiate those emotions, regardless of if things are going well for us. If we are constantly programming our mind to look for the ways in which things aren't working out for us, that's the life we get to live. But if you were tuning into this podcast, it means that you would not love to live that way. It means that you want to continue to master your life. And to do that, we must master our mind. We must master control over our emotions. And that takes work. I'm constantly reminding myself about the fact that it's never a one and done, that I'm constantly going to be working at it. And that's why I stay in this work. Because as soon as I go unconscious and I start putting myself back into victim mode, I get to keep whatever it is I'm thinking about. And if there's something in my life that I do not love, I get to keep it as well, knowing that everything that we see around us is because we're vibrating energetically in alignment with it. So, this brings us back to being heart-centered individuals. Love, abundance, prosperity comes from this energy here. Something I've also been reading about in his book is that our survival centers in our body, if you are familiar with chakras, they're in the lower three centers underneath our heart. And so when we realize that we are constantly living in. And when I'm feeling butterflies or anxious, I feel it in my stomach. And so, again, it got me curious about how we can tune into our body and use our vessel to our advantage, to use the energy that we have to free up emotions in order to live an even greater and more vibrant, successful life. To do this, we must resonate with the feelings of love, abundance, and prosperity that we already have in our life. Joe moves on to say in the next couple of pages, you are suggestible only to the thoughts equal to your emotional state. This means that you can think, I'm abundant, I'm abundant, I'm abundant, all you would love. But if your energy and your body is saying, I'm in debt, I'm in lack, I'm in separation of some sort, the thought in your brain, I am abundant, will never be able to get past the feeling that is resonating too deeply inside of your body. This is what I get to teach people how to resonate with even greatly in the coaching that I do. And it is so fun when we get to overcome ourselves. It's why I'm in my own personal life coaching as well, because sometimes it takes someone else outside of us in order to pinpoint where exactly we are feeling this discontent and where we are coming up against blocks of our own. Just like basketball players, when they want to be professional, they have a professional basketball coach. If you want to master your mind and your body, then it's important to have someone who's in the work and who can show you exactly where you can fine tune your mind and your body to resonate in harmony with each other. So, for those of you who would love to continue to master your mind, to free yourself out of victim mode, and to continue to live into even greater levels of abundance, prosperity, health, and wellness in every form, then join me for Mind Mastery Monday every day from 3 to 4 p.m. PST. It is 1 hour free for you guys where you get to learn short term and long term tips, tricks, and tools that allow you to continue to create the life that you would absolutely love living. And for those of you who want to take it one step further, email me at perfectlypowerfullyu@gmail.com for a free strategy session where we get to sit down together and we get to look at where you're feeling hemmed in, where you're feeling like you're not reaching your fullest potential, and the next best steps to help you get you on the path for where you would love to be. So when Joe Dispenza says that you have to be able to feel greater than your environment, it's something that brought me to something that I continue to teach with my clients is generating state. Generating state is a perfect way and a fantastic tool that I use multiple times daily that help me be able to tune out of the world and what I perceive as a particular circumstance, situation, and condition, and tune back in with myself and be able to harness and signal safety within my body. To signal safety within our body takes us from a sympathetic fight or flight into a parasympathetic rest and digest and create. When our body, again, is in our sympathetic fight or flight, we are on autopilot. We are no longer taking in information. We are no longer thinking. We are very emotional beings, and we go on what is in our past experiences that has helped us continue to evolve, regardless of if it's actually helping us. So, if we're feeling our body heightened, we're feeling nervous, anxious, scared, lack in some way, in order to become more heart centered, in order to be able to create a life and actually intake and create the next step that is going to move us in the direction of our dream, that's going to forward us into greater success, that's going to change our reality, we must first change our energetic state. By generating state, this means we're pausing, breathing ourselves back into the present moment and noticing what we're noticing and flipping the channel in our vibrational state and our mind. What do I mean by this? Well, if you would love to do it with me, first, if you're in a place that you can do so, we're going to sit and or stand up straight and put our feet planted on the ground. We're going to inhale through our nose and exhale through our mouth like we're blowing through a straw. And you're going to do this a few times. And with every breath, you're going to ask yourself to become even more present in this moment. This is taking us away from what's going on in our environment, and we are bringing ourselves into the generous present moment where all things are possible. In this moment, you bring to mind your vision of the life that you would absolutely love living. You're going to bring to mind a series of images that spark life and joy in your life. And you're going to ask yourself, what am I grateful for today? And allow yourself to feel into this and actively generate the feeling of gratitude, reminding ourselves that gratitude is in alignment with prosperity, with wealth, with health, with greater amounts of abundance and success. Everything in alignment with gratitude is what you get to resonate with, and that is what you get to attract. The emphasis here, as you are generating state and living from a heart centered place and allowing yourself to co create this space around you of greater energy, is to be an active participant in your gratitude. You're not just going to say, I'm abundant, I'm gratitude. You're going to allow yourself to feel it and bring to mind something today or in general that brings to life this level of gratitude. And you're going to do this as many times throughout your day as you would love. The more times you do it, the more you get to resonate in your body. And maybe at first you're not going to feel it, and that's okay. Just like lifting weights, you know that you can lift a 50, but maybe you're only at a 5 pounder. But the more you keep lifting that 5 pounder, the greater your chances are that one day you will be able to lift that 50 pounder. But you will never be able to lift that 50 pounds if you don't first start with 5. So make a commitment to yourself that as you are generating state once in the morning, once at night, and the more you resonate with this, it becomes something you want to do because it feels good to feel good. And to amplify this feeling of gratitude, I will also encourage you to ask yourself, what am I proud of today? Because being proud of yourself for giving yourself a command and follow through is how you amplify this feeling of gratitude, knowing that no one else is living your life. You are the one who gets to take every step towards your dream. But when you tell yourself, you know what, I got up today. I got dressed and I am so thankful for getting out of my pajamas. I am proud of myself for stepping up and doing a podcast. I am so proud of myself for drinking an extra glass of water today and nourishing my body with more vegetables. I'm proud of myself for just recognizing that I am the master of my life and tuning in and taking this 5 minutes, 3 minutes, a minute to ask myself what I'm grateful for and proud of. It doesn't matter what it is you are proud of. What you want to tune into here is asking yourself, what am I grateful for? What am I proud of? And just allowing your body to feel this way because your energy is what's most important. Now, for those of you who may like more concrete evidence as to why it's important to live even more heart centered from feelings of genuine gratitude, joy, love, abundance, and prosperity, in Joe Dispenza's book, he's done numerous research and blind test studies and triple blind test studies in order to see if what we're doing is actually changing our body on a fundamental way. For me, I love me some good science. I love me some concrete evidence to know that what I'm doing is not just woo woo, it is actually changing something physically in my body. I love the spiritual aspect as well. I feel very much a part of this as well. But having concrete evidence, such as if you are feeling an elevated sense of well being in a safe environment, The energy of these feelings set in motion a cascade of at least 1,400 biochemical changes in the body that promotes growth and repair. You are actually changing your DNA as you continue to live from a heart-centered place. You are signaling genes in your body for growth and repair. And something even greater still, I would recommend reading the book because he really gets into it. But something even greater when you fire and wire the neurons in your brain to live from this place of greater prosperity. Not only do you feel good in the moment, you continue to make it a habit to feel good. In the beginning of this podcast, I mentioned that we become addicted to our emotions and our emotional state because our body is constantly in the past. If we continue to promote greater abundance and we choose to feel and we dedicate time to feel better, it becomes something that changes our body on a fundamental way. And again, it's going to take time, it's going to take work, and it's going to take effort. But if you're listening to this today, it means that there is a part of you that wants this, that wants the even greater, that wants an easier life, that wants to have something greater. You want to live a successful life. You want to have even greater health, prosperity, love, abundance, and you want it to be easier. We are energetic beings. And when we set the foundation for greatness in our life and we continue to choose to, regardless of what's going on outside of us, we choose to feel it, it becomes something that is hardwired within us. And if it is hardwired within us, it becomes our dominant vibration. And if it becomes our dominant vibration, we attract more of what is in alignment with this. So, how do we continue to do it? Well, one way is generating state. This you can do at any moment in time in your life as long as you give yourself a few moments of quiet space to yourself. And it becomes very rapid pace once you continue to resonate with and be able to practice generating your state. I am constantly doing it whenever I realize that my thoughts have drifted and my emotion has drifted to a place that I don't necessarily love. I am very consciously aware of when I'm in a high vibration state, when I'm feeling excellent, and when I'm in a low vibration state, when I'm feeling, well, not so excellent. So, generating state is a perfect place to start. An active meditation practice is something that, for those of you, you may love this and you're like, great, I love meditating. I'm going to do it all the time. For some of you, it's going to take a little bit of work and it's necessary work. I have dedicated time in the morning and at night in order to change my state because I recognize the importance of being able to dedicate time to doing it. It's the same thing about going to the gym as I mentioned earlier. If you want to be more fit, you're probably going to spend less time on the couch and more time outside at the gym or doing something physical. If you want to be a doctor, you're probably going to spend less time at home and more time with patients, more time studying what it means to be a doctor. You're going to surround yourself with other doctors. You're going to be in that energy. So if you want to have a greater business, have more successful life, have even greater feelings of wealth and richness in your life, have a more fantastic relationship, you first must realize it starts with you. The final thing that I would love to leave you with prior to my departure from this podcast is a reminder that you have an attractive field around you at all times. Just like when you're watching TV, if you are wanting the Discovery Channel, but you are currently watching CNN, you are not going to get the Discovery Channel. Why? Because you're not on the level of frequency of the Discovery Channel. And so when you are wanting to have greater levels of health, abundance, success, prosperity, aliveness, if your energy is saying, I am in lack, I am scared, I am anxious, I am in debt, you cannot feel prosperity, love, abundance, and success because they are not on the same level. Mary Morrissey says that you cannot get to your dream. You must come from your dream. When we come from our dream, it means that the person living that life is already feeling these emotions. So, repetition of the process of firing and wiring of feelings that come from your heart center means that not only does it become a greater habit, but it becomes your dominant vibration. You start automatically and regularly broadcasting the Discovery Channel, when up until now, you were broadcasting CNN. And the more in tune you are with your body, i.e., by meditating and getting familiar with your body and your state, you become better and even more skillful at shifting your frequency from CNN back to the Discovery Channel. For those of you who would love to have a little bit more help on this and be able to tune in with your energy with even greater skill, and you would love to have someone help you along the way to get you to that state, remember to reach out to me at perfectlypowerfullyu@gmail.com so we can set up a strategy session together. Until then, I thank you all so much for tuning in today. I hope it has been inspirational, that it's piqued your interest, that it's caused you to want to grab a new book and learn even more and discover what is possible for you. Until then, and until our next episode together in a week or two, I trust, hope, and expect that you all are having a super duper phenomenal day, that you continue to have a great day, and I look forward to talking with you all very soon. Thank you all for joining me today, because it has been my absolute pleasure to be here with you. Make sure to give this podcast a 5-star review and share it with all your loved ones, because it helps in creating even more awesome content. If you're interested in learning how to effortlessly create even more health, vitality, and time and money freedom, sign up for my free monthly vision workshop live over Zoom. Until then, I hope you all have a powerful day, and I look forward to chatting with you all real soon.